Stay informed with Pacific Mornings.
Whakaalofa atu. It is 11 minutes past 8. Welcome back to Pacific Mornings. I'm your guest host, Kalia Strong. Now, in a historic move, the United Nations top court has ruled that countries have a legal duty to tackle climate change and cooperate on reducing emissions. The International Court of Justice says failure to meet climate obligations could lead to legal action from states, including our Pacific nations, who are suffering the impacts. The opinion gives political and legal weight to climate action, but it's not legally binding. It's been hailed, though, as a major win for small island nations and a step forward in global accountability. Joining us now is Vepaia Mele, a 16-year-old campaigner in Vanuatu who went to The Hague, and Polly Banks, country director from Save the Children. Good morning.
Hi there.
Nice to have you on the show. Now we'll start with you, Vepaia Mele. What's your reaction to the verdict?
Oh, I'm absolutely overjoyed with this verdict from the ICJ. It is an amazing advisory opinion because it completely clarifies what states need to be doing in regards to the climate crisis. And we know that the climate crisis isn't just an environmental crisis, it's also a human rights crisis and a children's rights crisis as well. So I'm sure that it will pave the way for justice for everyone around the world.
I love that. Now, why did you become involved in the campaign?
Well, I live in Vanuatu, and all throughout my life, I've seen the effects of climate change in every aspect of my life and in my communities and in my nation. And so that was just enough to compel me to be an advocate for climate justice and an activist.
Yeah, now you mentioned that you do live with the impacts of climate change, and I went to Vanuatu 2 years ago after the cyclones Kevin and Judy that just happened within 2 days of each other. What are some examples of how you are experiencing climate change in your life?
Well, we see the effects of climate change in our nation, in our economy, from things that have happened even years ago. Like, as you said, cyclones that have happened 2 years ago or even 10 years ago. We still see the effects lingering to this day in our economy, in our markets, in our education system. We see classrooms that are still to the ground, children that still have to learn in tents, and it's not ideal at all. And we have clinics and essential facilities that are still completely damaged, and it's very saddening to see. And we see these effects all around us every day and every year.
Oh my goodness. Now, just turning to you, Polly, what ramifications will this international decision have?
Yeah, thanks. Look, the ruling is a huge win for human rights, with the court confirming that the impacts of climate change may significantly impact human rights, including, of course, the rights of children. So while the advisory opinion is not legally binding, we're just thrilled at this outcome. And it's expected that the advisory opinion will influence future climate litigation, environmental negotiations or climate change negotiations, and of course, national policy frameworks. And leading environmental lawyers have described the advisory opinion as a potential guiding star in terms of climate action. So we see this as an absolute landmark moment for climate change.
Polly, can you give us some examples of how this might play out in a practical sense? There's all these big words like climate change and human rights, and just wondering what actual impact this might have.
Yeah, so even though it's not legally binding, it's going to hold a lot of moral authority. And for Save the Children, we hope that the long-term outcome of this advisory opinion will be increased climate financing to the countries and communities and children that need it most. And we hope that that investment will be targeted towards child-centric climate change action. So, for example, infrastructure, education infrastructure that is much more resilient to cyclones in the Vanuatu context. We also hope that this leads to an urgent phase out of the use and also the subsidy of fossil fuels. And we hope, it was really interesting that the court specifically mentioned child rights and the impact of climate change on children's ability to meet their rights. And so we hope that this advisory opinion leads to really meaningful participation of children in future climate policy and climate action.
Now, Vepaia Mele, you got to go to The Hague and present to the court. What was that like for you?
Yes, I traveled to The Hague last year in December. I didn't present in the court with the Vanuatu delegation, but I was engaged in media engagement and activities surrounding the event, and it was really amazing. I was there to amplify the voices of children in the Pacific and in Vanuatu who are disproportionately affected by the climate crisis. And it was really amazing to be there and be able to do that and represent my country and my people.
I've seen pictures from, showing the building. It looks very English, really, like it's very proper, and it must be quite a contrast to what things are like back home in Vanuatu.
Oh yes, very much a contrast, and it was yeah, very different scenery, different landscape, and it definitely showed the differences between developed countries and less developed countries like Vanuatu, who are bearing the brunt of the climate crisis. So it was really great to be there, but also see the differences as well.
Yeah, now you are just 16, and I think it's fantastic that you are taking this advocacy so seriously when you are still a teenager. But this whole action was spearheaded by students from Vanuatu. How proud are you that Vanuatu has been the lead on this international issue?
Thank you. Yes, I don't think I can describe how proud I am. It's amazing what the students have achieved, and also our government and governments who have supported this. And it's really amazing. It's a landmark case, and it will pave the way for justice and climate justice for communities and people all around the world. So I'm so proud and happy with this outcome, and I hope that everyone else is listening and will take climate change seriously as well.
Yes, and just final questions for you, Polly. This obviously you're part of Save the Children. How crucial is it that children's rights have been at the centre and well, youth have been leading this movement?
Just absolutely critical. Working here in Save the Children in Vanuatu, we see every day the impact that the climate crisis is having on children. Children here in the capital, only a kilometre or two from tourist hotels, are still at school in tents from tropical cyclones Kevin and Judy that you saw here in early 2023. And, the children's ward, the paediatric ward at the hospital already this year has seen more than 40 cases of malnourishment. And that malnourishment is linked to food insecurity from unseasonable weather patterns, from the impact of climate change. So we're seeing it every day play out in children's ability to have their rights met. And so this is just such a huge win for children's rights.
Thank you. And just where to from here? Have we solved climate change and the crisis from this decision?
I think we have a way to go, but this is definitely giving hope around the world where sometimes in the climate crisis it feels like hope is lost. And today we have woken up and hope is restored.
Oh, that's very exciting. Thank you so much. That is Vepaia Mele, 16-year-old youth campaigner from Vanuatu, and Polly Banks, Country Director from Save the Children. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tomas.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Tomas. If you want